Hey, Bill.
Hi.
Hey. So actually, we've seen each other all morning because we just wrapped up the second day of our second season session of our practitioners level one training, which was incredible. And you said something that caught my attention and really my imagination. And so I wanted to do this little interview with you after to have you expand on it because I think it could be really important. So you said two words together that really, I don't know, my mind is really going about it. You were talking about emotional amnesia. So what did you mean? Tell us about that.
So with Cognomovement, one of the things that I noticed is that people were experiencing emotional amnesia. And what I mean by that is that they would still be able to recall event if they wanted to, but they felt absolutely no emotion about it. They forgot any emotion about it. And they couldn't really even recall the emotion anymore about it. They witnessed the event or what's causing that, and it's gone. And it is not as if this amnesia is that it's not as if they're trying, right? Everybody is so kind of willful in that, there's that person did this wrong and they're such a jerk, but and they're trying to fight the way they feel or fight them. And then with this, it's like poof, amnesia. They just can forget about it. It's like, and they can't really recall the emotion anymore, even when they try. The other thing that is really significant is craving amnesia. Imagine these people that had these cravings, right? And it becomes such a big part of their life that they just, again, they're not trying to overpower the chocolate cake or whatever it might be. It's just, you just kind of forgot about it. So this is being used successfully. We've had people with wine, cigarettes, Coca-Cola, Chick-fil-A, guacamole and chip, whatever their thing is, and everybody kind of has their own thing. When they do the exercise, not only does the craving go down, but there is a sensation in their body that they feel this release. And typically it's along the center line of the body somewhere. And the sensation during the Cognomovement session moves from kind of one area to another, and then they kind of feel a release or expansion in their body, and the craving kind of goes away. So it's really a very interesting thing that happens. And when something's been so big for so long and somebody's fighting it, we found that taking that away, not in a forceful way, but in a very natural way, it's just made a huge difference in their life and affected things that they didn't know were connected to it. They have major life changes in finances or in health because it's unblocked now. And you just had no idea that this craving was actually somehow related to relationships going bad. And once one dissolves, then all of a sudden relationships get better. So there's connections that are so dynamic that until somebody experiences it, it's almost hard to even understand. My one thing I would say about it is that it's a lot of times not something you even think, right? You may be looking for a change over here, but it creates a change in a completely different area. And you weren't even looking, you're just like, oh, wow, that's weird. this other thing's completely changed for me.
So it's so fascinating. And this is a big part of what we're teaching in this practitioner's training that is so fabulous because of this. We're talking about this calibrated loop that happens, this loop that, goes around and around. And, you were mentioning it today, from the head to the body, but also between us and other people, between us and other things, between us and our activities, between us and our work, that are just playing unconsciously, subconsciously. Some of them are completely conscious. And what you're saying is we're collapsing those with the Cognomovement system.
Yes.
The person comes to you, they may not even know, like you're saying, that loop is happening. They may or they may not know. They may not be aware. And Cognomovement has this great backdoor way of accessing those through the physical body, through the sensations, correct?
Correct.
And then the people will have a session that collapses that loop. And now it's as though what you're saying is they have now amnesia for that thing. It's like it's deleted from their memory files. And I think even further, it's deleted from their physical files. I mean, that's what I suspect.
So if you look at it kind of like your thoughts stimulate your feelings, and your feelings end up stimulating your thoughts, kind of like a figure eight, right? One, not only does it happen in you, I would say that that is one kind of what I would call infinity loop. There's another one, and that infinity loop is what's going on inside me affects what's going on outside of me. So the thing that goes on outside of me starts infecting inside, and inside to outside. So when this connection gets busted, if you will, or you create this amnesia, it collapses. All those kind of loops collapse, and it allows you to kind of go back to your more natural state, which is unencumbered.
Yeah, and as we're saying so much in our trainings, a neutrality, an
Mhm.
evenness, a smoothed outness, like it just creates. For me, the word neutrality makes so much sense. Just this even thing. It's so funny that you're saying the energetic loop, because today I met with a friend and longtime client, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I had a premonition today, a premonition this week." I'm like, "Ooh, that's interesting. What happened?" And so she was saying, I had this thought about she said, I saw it in my mind about my computer bag breaking and falling all over the place. And she said, I think it was a couple of hours later, she walked out a door, and that's what happened. And it dawned on me, because it was this morning, we were preparing for this class. I thought, oh my gosh, rather than a seeing of the future, is it an interaction energetically with that bag, where it was telling her, I'm weak, I'm threadbare, I'm letting you know it's going to collapse. And so we are energetically interacting with all the things around us, whether we know it or not, and ourselves, our own selves, are the most important thing. So I love that you're saying that. So as these loops move, we're energetically influencing not just ourselves, but everything else.
Yeah. There's everything is conscious, and I would encourage anyone who is interested in that to look into the work of Dr. Cleve Baxter. Dr. Cleve Baxter proved that that things have a consciousness. It's wonderful work. I won't belabor everybody with it, but he had actually developed a polygraph with, I think, CIA and FBI back in the day, and then he did some wonderful work where he attached it to a plant. And when he was thought that he was going to burn the plant reacted, and anyway, many more works that he did, extensive work before he passed away. So,
actually, more proof of that is in Lynn McTaggart's book, The Field. where she shares that story as well. So anybody who wants to prove that idea, I mean, it's out there, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah. So why we're talking about this is that the Cognomovement system that you created, which has to do with this ball, people, if you haven't seen it before, I'll hold it up to the camera, has the ability for people, it allows for people to neutralize any of those loops that they are aware of. And through the back door of the physical sensation, some that they're not maybe consciously aware of, but physically aware of, right?
Correct.
So talk about some of the things that people are actually, some of those loops that people are actually collapsing.
Gosh, there's some terrific videos from customers that actually worked with Cognomovement. One of the stories I love, I think it's out there, it's on YouTube, but this woman, she didn't understand her physical pain, right? All she knew is that she couldn't walk and that she had severe hip pain. And so she focused just on her hip pain and did Cognomovement for her hip pain. And the pain, most strange thing happened. The pain migrated. The pain went away in her hip, and her lower back, adjacent her belly button, began to hurt immensely. Now, that area started a lot of pain, and then eventually it released. But what happened in the process was the realization that there was a fear of her husband leaving her after 40 years. She is afraid of her husband leaving, and it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, anyway, all this fear went away, and that she's going to be okay, and that sort of thing, and new life, and so all of a sudden, not only did she relieve the hip pain, the back pain went away, and she was walking upstairs, and crying. I mean, she literally couldn't even take steps, and she was walking up flights of stairs. And so that would be a good example of focus on the physical, and then it backtracks to the emotional. So the beautiful thing with Cognomovement is you go either direction. Go from emotional to physical, or from physical to emotional.
I love that about Cognomovement, and I do a lot of modalities, a myriad of modalities when I work with clients. My main language is NLP, but there are so many, and so many of them have to do with talking, like, people have to say what's going on and that kind of thing. Cognomovement, you don't have to do that. And so because of that, I personally, and I know you have too, lots of practitioners have been able to work with people that you wouldn't normally get in your office. You wouldn't normally get to work with them because they don't want to have to talk about things, or they may have no idea what's causing their loop or their problem. So Cognomovement so brilliantly creates this back door where you can go in by the physical. Oh, you're an athlete and your shoulder's bothering you? Let's work on that. And I've had the experience, because I've gotten to do a lot of the research around the athletic performance on this. That shoulder means something more. It usually has an emotional attachment, and we can clear it and collapse it like that. Now with the new advancements in Cognomovement, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 45 seconds, it can take to collapse whatever is causing that problem and prohibiting that athlete from doing what they want to do. So it's incredibly versatile and incredibly useful for those kinds of things, and being able to go either direction and without a lot of conversation.
That's a big thing. It allows them to work on something without feeling vulnerable.
Yeah. I'll give you an example of a person I worked with actually yesterday who's an athlete. And we've been working with this person pretty regularly for about 2 months now, I think. It's been about 2 months. Yeah. And he works on micro adjustments in his sport. And he noticed that something was bothering him, and it had to do with competition within the sport and somebody really chasing him, wanting to beat him. Friendly competition, but constant, a little nagging. And he found that what was running in his system is this competition, this feeling that this person was constantly at him, about winning, or that he might now, the importance of being at the top of his game was starting to be what was weighing on his mind, rather than being in the zone every time he competes, which is where we need athletes to be, in the zone every time they compete. So he said, hey, will you work with me on this? And we 7 minutes, we worked on it. We were able to collapse that pattern. But what happened is, during that first few minutes, he started to get really irritated, really aggravated. And he's like, this is annoying. This is really aggravating. And he thought he was aggravated with the session, maybe even with me. But as a practitioner who's done this a number of times, I noticed that that's great. We were actually able for him to pull, release, and for that aggravation that was really the competition and being, nipped at his heels, moved up, out, collapsed that pattern. And we were so quickly able to bring him into the zone and then reinforce that in the zone. So it's not just about eliminating stuff. It's about really bringing up the things that we want to have, the positive aspects. Once the negative thing collapses, we can actually manifest and create even larger with the system, the positive thing that they want, install it back in the body. So that was a fascinating one for me. And I think it really shows what the system can do.
It's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So we're in the middle of our practitioners level 1 second session. That'll be done in a week, but what's coming next?
So what's next? The big one next is San Diego, September, I believe it's the 20th, 20th
Yep.
through 22nd. We're having 3 days of not only you get certified with Cognomovement, the practitioner training, and you learn a lot more of this, but for those of you that have been following me, learn what I call the secrets of the masters. And these are basic skills that you learn about things that would seem absolutely impossible. Ability to remote influence. And these things are brought down and made practical, where you actually get the skills and actually do it. So you learn all kinds of different kind of special skills for you name it, eliminating hunger and remote influencing in a positive healing way, and how to help people with relationships where nobody has to actually say anything, the clearing of things that are blocking you that you had no idea and no good way to get to. So many things. The list goes on and on and on. But you actually get the practical, real life, actual experience because we have you experience these things.
So I don't think you could have said it better. It really, a lot of these are if by magic. They change. With the secrets of the masters that you're going to be teaching. We also want to share too that at the 3-day intensive, and let me tell you, this is going to be an intensive, right, Bill? I mean, all of the advanced techniques of Cognomovement will be there. All of them. We'll be teaching them all. The secrets of the masters are an amazing addition, and if you've never experienced them with Bill before, I mean, you just have to be there. And then BioWell. So people are going to get the opportunity to see what their chakra system and energetic systems look like at the start of the 3 days and then after the 3 days.
Correct. You'll get multiple tests, and this shows you every meridian in your body, all of your chakras, every organ in your body. Here's what happens before, here's what happened after. You'll get to understand all of that and get it's like a pretty extensive report. I don't know how many pages, 20, 30 pages of reporting that you get to show you what's actually happened with all the work that you're doing. And then the other last thing is that you get 10 Cognomovement balls. So these are balls that you can sell to your actual customers, and those are $40 a piece on Amazon as right now for sale. So you can get one on Amazon today, and that includes the video training. But for practitioners, you get them to supply them to your customers or to just utilize. Great. Well, I really do. Go ahead, Liz.
Before we close, there's just something I want to say to practitioners, people who are already practicing as a therapist, as an NLP practitioner, as a Reiki coach, as a life coach, actually, or as an athletic performance coach. I want to say this to you, that learning the Cognomovement system and adding it to what you already do will change you as a practitioner. It'll change your perspective on how quickly you can change a client's state. It's amazing add-on to what you're already doing, or a standalone practice if you are one of those healers who's on the sidelines now and thinking about becoming a healer, or not just a healer, but a helping professional. Cognomovement is a healing technique, but it's a technology, I think, first. I don't know if you agree with me or not, Bill, but I think it's a technology that can change the way you do your practice. And because this 3 days is going to be such an intensive, I think it's going to change people personally. I think people are going to walk away different than when they came in, because there will be so much transformation happening in those 3 really packed days.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, thank you so much for having this after conversation. I know you're busy and need to get on with the day. Everybody, if you're interested in this, joining us, I highly encourage you. You'll want to get tickets very soon, as the event will sell out. It's September 20th through the 22nd in San Diego, live event. Go to cognomovement.com. Upcoming events is what you want to click on, and you can get your tickets now. So thanks again, Bill. We'll see you in San Diego.
Thank you.
Bye.